Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the DCU, and more specifically about the Caped Crusader, Batman himself, and what's been going on with him in this universe. What's the status of Batman? We know that he has a movie coming out, The Brave and the Bold, but when's it coming out? What's been going on? We're going to be getting into all that. But yeah, again, more specifically, I want to talk about what's been going on with Batman, what we've heard, the rumors, the news, why this stuff has been happening, especially all the confusion. And then I also want to pitch to you guys what I think would be a great idea for how to introduce Batman and what they should actually do with the movie. So we're getting into all these details, but listen guys, be sure to drop a like if you guys enjoyed this video, and also subscribe. More importantly, that would mean the world to me, especially if you want to talk about movies, shows, and everything in between. And listen, especially comic book stuff, because you know I love comic book movie stuff. But listen, I've got on my Batman t-shirt right here. Just to give you guys a little bit of context, Batman is probably my favorite superhero right next to Spider-Man. Honestly, it's like picking children at that point, but on the DC side, I love Batman. And on the Marvel side, I love Spider-Man. Those are my favorite two from each, comic book publisher or whatever you want to say. But let's get into this stuff here with the DCU, because man, I kind of just need to rant today because this has been pretty frustrating with The Brave and the Bold. Obviously, like 4 years ago at this point, or maybe 3 years ago, I think I'm being a bit too hyperbolic, but in all seriousness, James Gunn said, hey guys, I'm the CEO, and this is what we're going to be doing for the DCU. He announced the Waller show, which hasn't come out. He announced the Booster Gold show, which hasn't come out, and we have no information. He announced all these things that we pretty much have no information about, except a couple, which, listen, is fine. I understand there's a bunch of stuff going on, but listen, I think so far the DCU has been a hit. You've got Creature Commandos, which was great. You've got Superman, which was awesome. Peacemaker Season 2, I really enjoyed, even though I did feel like it had a couple faults. And we still have the future going forward with Supergirl, Clayface, Lanterns, all this other stuff. Man of Tomorrow. I want to start off by saying this. I'm very happy that they kicked off this universe focusing on Superman, because over the past 20 plus years, we have had so much Batman media. I mean, realistically, between the Christopher Nolan movies, the DCU, Ben Affleck, then we get the Robert Pattinson Batman movies, or Batman movie, because we haven't got the second one yet, but we're going to be talking about that. We have video games, comics, like the Absolute Batman, all this stuff, shows, this, that, animated series. So much Batman content. Same kind of with like Spider-Man, where we just have so much Spider-Man content. They're basically the top two characters in terms of popularity for a reason. People love them. So I'm happy that they decided to say, hey, you know what? Superman is a household name, but in like a recent memory at least, because I think the 1978 Superman is really great. Superman has not been given a truly great film on the big screen. I know there's some Man of Steel lovers, whatever, but realistically, it's way too controversial to say, yeah, it's just absolutely awesome and objectively great and positive. No, that was like a darker Superman. We just need a hopeful Superman, one that actually portrays the character right. And James Gunn cooked, and I think that movie's awesome. It was a great way to start off this universe, made it feel very fleshed out. The way that the metahumans are kind of interwoven into the world, it felt very built out and great. From there, though, we have some pretty interesting choices to start off this universe. Something like Supergirl is going to be coming out that I thought was a very unique choice, but that's another character that has really never been given the proper, I guess you could say, light on her character. So I think that's also great to start off like that. But let's get into the Brave and the Bold here, because I feel like I'm kind of getting off on a bit of a tangent here with DCU. But overall, I just want to say I like the direction that they're going in, but I want to talk about my plan in a little bit. That's when we'll really get into the details as to what I think they should do with this character. But the Brave and the Bold, man, we've gotten basically no information about this movie. Basically, James has just said, hey, we're working on this movie. This script is being written or tinkered with or reviewed or something like that. But we actually just got concrete news recently about who is going to be writing the script for The Brave and the Bold. It's going to be Christina Hodson, I believe is how you say her name. She wrote The Flash and Birds of Prey. And of course, Andy Muschietti is going to be directing this movie. He was attached for a long time at this point. But let's just dive into that first of all before we really talk about what's been going on. First of all, this information came out, and I was pretty confused because I don't understand if they, I'm just having a hard time, I should just say, comprehending if they've already written a script for this movie, or if they still need to write a script, or if they're tinkering with it, or if Christina is rewriting the script, because it's just been this, again, a very odd timeline. They've really kept the fans out of it. Like, yes, James Gunn's always on social media talking with fans, but I feel like he's been kind of dodging the question as to what's really been going on with this movie. I'm sure they've been putting a lot of time into producing this movie in terms of like, hey, what do we want it to look like? You know, who should we cast? All that. But it just feels like the script, we just have truly no idea what point it's at. There's a chance that the script has literally not even been touched yet. There's also a chance that a script has already been written, but she's coming in to write it, or rewrite it, I should say, or she already wrote the script for it, but now it just got announced that she was the one that did it. So it's just a bit weird, but honestly, it doesn't really matter too much. But in terms of the movie releasing, I guess it does. Then you've got Andy Muschietti, who directed The Flash, and he also just did Welcome to Derry. I'm a bit confused as to why you would pick these two people, honestly. Andy Muschietti, I understand he directed The Flash. He just had a smash hit with Welcome to Derry, which gives me a bit more hope, but I don't know why you would, in a way, kind of hold on to DCEU scraps. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to them. They're not just scraps. They're human beings. But I don't know why you would bring them over here, especially when they don't really have a proven track record. I like Birds of Prey. I think it's pretty solid. And I'd even go as far as to say that I kind of like The Flash. I don't hate it. People were saying it's the greatest superhero movie of all time before it came out, but then it got absolutely dogged on once it actually released. And I don't think it's really that bad. I think it's pretty decent, but I also haven't seen it in like 3 years since it came out. It's just one of these things where I'm a bit confused as to what's going on here. Oh my god, I'm stuttering. Because James Gunn has always talked about preparation and how everything needs to be in order, but it feels like the production on this movie has been a mess, and I have no idea what I'm really talking about, right? I'm not at DC Studios. I'm not sitting in rooms with the writers and stuff. No, I don't know this stuff. I'm just kind of speculating, of course, but it just seems like it's been a bit messy because we've just been kept out of the dark for so long, especially because we just got a Superman movie. We're moving forward. Again, we're getting a Supergirl movie, a Clayface movie, Man of Tomorrow, and there's just been no word on what's going on with Batman. Our main DC trilogy, of course, is Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. But we've only gotten really real news on one character, that is Superman, because we've gotten literally an entire movie that's already been released about 7 months ago. I want to talk about why I think this has been going on, though. Why has it been just so confusing with what's going on with the Brave and the Bold? I have to talk about the elephant in the room. We already have a Batman. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's actually another Batman that is technically currently active, that being Robert Pattinson with The Batman. One thing I will say is that The Batman is probably my favorite movie of all time, or if not top 2 or top 3. I love The Batman. I love his portrayal, Robert Pattinson. I think it's just ridiculous what Matt Reeves was able to create. The Batman Part 2 was slated to come out October 2025. This movie at this point in time would have been out for a couple months already. Superman would have came out. The Batman Part 2 would have came out. The Brave and the Bold would have probably been clear to release in 2026, maybe even 2027 if you really wanted to just take your time. But then a huge problem came out. A massive problem came up. The Batman Part 2 got delayed for a year to 2026. October 2026. Same month, exactly 1 year. Okay, 1 year. Maybe we have to rearrange things a bit, but it's still not too much of a change, you know what I mean? We're just pushing the Batman Part 2 1 year later. We'll try to figure out, I should say, a release date for The Brave and the Bold so that we start really working on it and cracking down on it. Then the Batman Part 2 gets delayed another year to October 2027. So it was October 2025, then 2026, then 2027. This movie got delayed 2 years. So now you really got to scratch your head and say, damn, when is this movie going to release? Because again, you cannot have two Batman movies in two different universes competing with each other, or releasing, in my opinion, realistically even close to the same time. I know that it's tough. It's really tough. But I think even a year apart is almost too much. But let's just say that the Batman Part 2 came out in 2025, The Brave and the Bold comes out in 2027. I think that's fine. A year apart, again, fine. Like, that's okay, I guess. But it's just a bit weird. And it just becomes one of these things where, okay, now the earliest we are getting The Brave and the Bold is 2028. And that's going to be right after the Batman Part 2 comes out. What if the Batman Part 2 is a masterpiece, and then The Brave and the Bold just isn't as good? Now everyone's going to be dogging on The Brave and the Bold. That's another big issue that I feel like people have kind of been dancing around. And also another thing, and I don't mean to be like really abusing The Brave and the Bold right now, but from a logistical standpoint, it's real. Is there going to be a Batman Part 3? Are we going to have another movie 2 years later after the Batman Part 2? So maybe 2027, then 2029 or 2030? When is The Brave and the Bold going to come out? That's the real issue here. It's just a very awkward thing because, again, if it came out in 2025, the Batman Part 2, I think everything would have been fine. But it got pushed back 2 years, and that just probably caused a lot of confusion, and it's just a bit too overstuffed now. But listen, I'm going to be talking a little bit about what I think they should do that I think is a very good idea. And I came up with it myself, but I'm not trying to gas myself up. I'm just saying I think that I have a vision for what they should do with this character. But in all seriousness, it just seems like it's weird. I like that they're trying to do some type of fantastical thing that'll definitely differentiate itself from the Robert Pattinson's more grounded, detective, darker, grittier Seven-like Batman. But it's just in an awkward place. And I think that at some point, yes, we will be getting this Batman. But when? It kind of just feels like who knows. And I like I said, with the DCU, they're doing something different. Because I look at the MCU, what the MCU do? They played it safe, which is fine, by the way, because this was the first time it was ever done. They started off phase 1 with an Iron Man movie, their leader of the universe, kind of like what the DCU did with Superman, okay. Then they did Thor, Captain America. They made another Iron Man movie. They did the Hulk movie. And then they introduced Black Widow in Iron Man 2. They introduced Hawkeye and Thor. And then they literally just brought them in for one big movie. They clearly laid out a path that was very linear and very direct towards the Avengers. But I like that with the DCU, they're doing something a bit weirder and a bit different. Superman comes out, but then we're getting Supergirl. Okay, that's cool. But it's not like we're just doing Superman movie, Wonder Woman movie, Batman movie. They team up for the Justice League. No. I think it's awesome that they didn't do that. But I want to really get into what I think they should do with this character. Because I have a plan and I have a vision that I think makes sense. Maybe some of you disagree with me, but I think it's a great idea. Ignoring the director and who I think they should cast, because I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I want to talk about what I think they should do with this Batman movie, The Brave and the Bold. Chapter 1 of the DCU is called Gods and Monsters. I think it would be so awesome to actually not have Batman or Wonder Woman in the first chapter of the DCU. Now hold your horses. I know what you're saying. No, but they're the central core characters of this universe. They need to be in the universe immediately. Hear me out on this. You've got Superman coming out. You've got Supergirl coming out. Okay, 2 major characters. Man of Tomorrow is going to be coming out in 2027 as this big team-up movie probably. And that makes sense because you're going to be going against Brainiac. You've got Lex Luthor. I'm sure that Superman and Supergirl are going to be in it. Maybe Peacemaker is going to be in it, and he's already been set up in this phase 1 in chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. And in the name itself, we're talking about gods and monsters. Superman is essentially a god, right? In a way, not in like a Zack Snyder Superman, Man of Steel way, but he's a god. We're going over monsters like a Clayface, which is going to be coming out. And what I like about this is that we're also going into the Lanterns, who are also kind of like gods. They're a bit more whimsical. They're very powerful. So we're going very, very cosmic here. We're going a bit larger than life. Big superheroes with big powers going over world-ending threats. With a Batman tease like Clayface to hold us over. A Clayface movie. Give us a little Gotham. Give us a little bit of Batman feel. Just to hold us over. Okay? You end phase 1, chapter 1, with Man of Tomorrow. Because again, you've had this whole first chapter that's meant to set up things like creature commandos, these weird monsters, right? And then you set up Supergirl and Superman fighting Brainiac and Lex Luthor. Peacemaker's in there because he was also in like the alternate dimensions and stuff. That makes sense. Then for chapter 2, you set up Batman and Wonder Woman. And this is why. Think about the MCU. Phase 1, they introduced some of their core characters. But what was one of their first movies in Phase 2? Guardians of the Galaxy. Then who they introduced? Ant-Man. Obviously, this is another level. This is a much higher level. But Batman and Wonder Woman can be your quote-unquote Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man. What do I mean by that? They're going to be introduced right at the beginning of your second phase, and they're going to be very pivotal for the rest of this franchise. But instead of just trying to rush to them in the first phase, you just lay some groundwork out, you end with a big team up, then in phase 2, chapter 2, maybe it's like a bit more street level, Superman's still involved, maybe it's just a bit like lower to the ground, like Wonder Woman's involved, you introduce them. I think that makes so much sense. So again, to go over this, Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. We've got Superman, Supergirl fighting off Brainiac with maybe Peacemaker on the side because he was also involved. You just tease Batman with Clayface, or do you just tease Gotham? You just give the fans a little appetizer. Then Chapter 2, Phase 2, you introduce your Guardians of the Galaxy. Not that it's a team, but I'm just saying, or the Bat family could be the team technically, with the Batman family. Then your Ant-Man is Wonder Woman. And obviously Wonder Woman's way more popular than Ant-Man. But I hope you guys see my vision here about how you actually wait, you be patient. Maybe we don't see Batman until 2029, once Chapter 1 is done. But I actually think that makes sense. And if that's what they're doing, I think this will be incredible. I think that just makes so much more sense than trying to rush to Batman, trying to squeeze him right in, trying to compete with Robert Pattinson's Batman. Be patient. Let's focus on this super-powered Superman era with Brainiac. And then we move on to Wonder Woman and Batman. Then we worry about the Justice League. Then we add in a Booster Gold, or we add in this and that, whatever. That would just be so incredible. And from there, I want to talk about Batman the Brave and the Bold, the movie specifically, because again, that's going to be the Bat family. That's going to be, again, like the Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay? What do I think they should do when it comes to a director? I do not think Andy Muschietti's the guy. Writers, I'm not really going to get into specifics, but I don't really know if this, Christina Hodson, no disrespect to her, I don't really know if she's the person to be doing this. But I wish they just got a really talented writer that's been proven before. Maybe they're kind of up and coming. Maybe they just love the character and they have a really great idea. But obviously they're trying to do a more fantastical Batman. Who's a great director that deserves to direct a superhero movie right now? Who's proven they can direct a superhero movie on multiple accounts? I believe that there is no greater pick for a fantastical Batman movie than Sam Raimi himself. Sam Raimi right now is promoting his new movie called Send Help. That's going to be coming out this week, and I'm going to be reviewing it, so look out for that. It's been getting rave reviews, so he is back as a director. Multiverse of Madness, I know it was a bit of a bump in the road. I love that movie. I'm not afraid to say that. And I think that movie was bad only because Marvel Studios interfered with it heavily. And I think that the great moments in that movie is because of Sam Raimi, because of his horror kind of side, his campy side that he loves to bring. He directed Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man trilogy, one of the greatest Superman trilogies ever, superhero trilogies ever. Multiverse of Madness, again, I like that movie. And again, all the problems with that movie I feel are because of Marvel Studios, not him. Could you imagine a fantastical, vibrant Batman, kind of in the creative lane of something like the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher Batman, except better, with Sam Raimi directing, someone that knows how to make a great superhero from both an action standpoint and a writing standpoint? But who should play Batman? Who would Sam Raimi be directing? Probably a bit of an older figure, because it's going to be a part of the Bat family. He probably has a son, like a Robin. Batman's always been played by a prestigious actor. That's how it is. Spider-Man, Superman, it's always been like a newer guy, kind of like a fresh face, but Batman has always been a very prestigious actor filling in the role. And I'm trying to think who would be perfect as Batman, but whose career could also maybe use Batman right now. Not that their career sucks now, but they're just kind of like trying to find their footing a bit. I think that Batman should be played by no other than Jake Gyllenhaal. Obviously, one of the greatest actors of this century. His run from like 1999 to 2014, I want to say, was unreal, with Nightcrawler kind of ending off there. He did Demolition, 2016, I believe. He's kind of been doing like some shows and some Netflix movies as of recently. I still think he's at the top of his game. But I also am like, I kind of want to see him do a really great movie again, though. And sure, maybe he's usually good in like thrillers and stuff like that. Could you imagine charismatic, handsome, which is very important, Jake Gyllenhaal playing Bruce Wayne, kind of having that shorter beard? I'm just saying, almost like mine. He's much more handsome than me, okay? Let's make that very clear. But kind of, sitting there in a suit. Then his other alter ego, Batman, putting that mask on. Imagine him with no mask, just wearing that all-black suit. I think he's built enough. He's physically demanding, kind of like in Roadhouse. He could be jacked. He's not too old, he's not too young. And more importantly, he's a great actor, like one of the greatest of this century. Jake Gyllenhaal, in my opinion, is your guy. And this is the thing. I don't think Jake Gyllenhaal could play Robert Pattinson's Batman. I know that he's a thriller guy. He's always been, but I don't think he really fits that style. But I could just see Jake Gyllenhaal as a fantastical Batman. Maybe, even though I don't like this really, with like white eyes, I could see it working. Sam Raimi directing Jake Gyllenhaal, that would save my life. That would literally save my life. And I think that could be beautiful. And again, just to recap here, if that all took place after that first chapter, if they said, hey, fans, trust us, be patient, let's kind of set up this universe with this first phase, then bam, we're starting off phase 2 with Batman and Wonder Woman. I think that might be something that they'd be cooking up that I love. I don't want to make, something where, whatever DC does has to be, but following my orders. I just wanted to kind of pitch this because I'm going to be honest, I just thought it was like a great idea. I'm not trying to gas myself whatsoever. I don't think I'm like a smart writer or anything, but I just feel like that would just be such a great path to follow, especially because it allows them to be patient. It allows them to spend more time on the script and gives them more grace, and also backs them away from the Batman Part 2 and potentially a Part 3. But yeah, I just think it's been a bit of a weird path, but I hope that you guys can kind of see my vision here. Usually, I don't want to make videos like going over what I think these people should do, like what I think Marvel should do or this or that, but I just think that this movie's in a bit of a weird spot right now. It's in like this like purgatory state, and I feel like this will be the thing to kind of push them over the edge. But listen, let me know what you guys think about what's been going on with The Brave and the Bold. This movie has just had, no interesting news behind it, honestly. Clayface is realistically the only Batman movie that we're going to be getting, but we haven't really had any, true Batman news. So, kind of just sitting here waiting for the Batman Part 2, I guess. Thank you guys so much for watching, though. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video.